down in the deep. Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. What you wanna do? Rolling.
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. It's Thursday morning and we've got a cracking show for you today. Yes, we're talking about Takeover. Yes, possibly. Anyway, we've got some great news. Maybe some good news. Is it great news or not? I'm not quite sure. I'll break it down to you in a little while whether this means that the Takeover or not. There's been reports going wild about United possibly being taken over by another billionaire, another American billionaire, but I will break down whether that is the case or not in today's show. We're going to go on an investigation. We're going to check out whether this billionaire, supposedly who's invested in United, has been investing for some time, has increased his shares. And it's really interesting because it's happened on a time where we're all talking about Jim Ratcliffe and whether he will survive this onslaught since he's come out with those controversial comments last week. Anyway, let's jump straight into today's show. Make sure you hit the like, please, when you jump into the show, and of course hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber to the Man United stream channel. I don't know why you wouldn't be a subscriber already, but anyway, let's jump straight into the big news of today. Actually, it was last night where this started breaking, and it was the news of this billionaire called Leon Cooperman. I'll bring up this on the screen so you can see what he looks like and whether he looks like a decent guy. I'm not quite sure with these American billionaires. I'm never 100%, am I? So here he is. American billionaire Leon Cooperman has increased his stake in Manchester United. He now owns 5.2% of the club's Class A shares, valued at more than 50 million. 5.2% of Class A shares. Now, first of all, when you're reading that, it looks like, wow, okay, this guy's 5.2% weak, but in a couple of weeks or months, he might be on the same level as Jim Ratcliffe. That's what many people have been saying, look, this is it. This is a new guy coming in, and he's going to take over at United and maybe do something better than the Glazers or Jim Ratcliffe. But I'm not here to burst your bubble, but technically I am. I am here to burst your bubble because lots of people have been going crazy about this news, texting me as well saying, Travis, what's going on? Tell us, what is this guy going to take over? Why haven't you done a show already about this? And I said, look, I will do a show and I'll break down what this actually means. Calm down. It's not what you think. And everyone's like, what do you mean? He's up to 5.2%. It'll be, but there's lots of finer detail that we've got to look into. And number one is the type of shares he's buying up. He's buying Class A shares, and I'll go into what that actually means. Now, first of all, let's do a deep dive on who this guy is. Who is Cooperman? Well, he is, of course, a billionaire from, well, he's a billionaire from America. Now, we all, as soon as we hear that, as Man United fans, we all get panicky. We also get stressed out because we know we've had billionaires from America sat at this club for a long time and they've done jack shit. So why would we want more American billionaires? And this one, he's a lot older as well. He's almost reaching his, he's 82-year-old investor. And he first bought his first initial shares in Man United in 2003, I think it was. 2023 he bought his shares. Now, he's an American billionaire, has increased his... let me just read from the article, so I'll give you some solid info here, right? So you can make up your own minds. I'm telling you what I believe, so then I'll let you guys, the viewers, decide what you think is going to happen going forward, because there was lots of speculation already about Jim Ratcliffe getting, pushed out. Then there was speculation, and there's been news and reports, actual reports from good sources saying that the Glazers were furious with Jim Ratcliffe and his comments, and they wanted answers. And they were already looking to protect the interests of Man United. And the statement that United actually made was given authority by the Glazers. The Glazers were the ones who said to the PR team at United, you need to put out a statement going against Jim Ratcliffe. Don't name him, but tell everybody that we are an inclusive club, blah, blah, blah. You know the statement that they put out. And essentially, apart from not naming Jim Ratcliffe, they were just literally going for him, weren't they? They're just kind of... It was embarrassing for Jim Ratcliffe. For the club to make a statement against a minority owner was not a good look for Jim Ratcliffe. Anyway, let's get to this new increased share owner at United, Cooperman. Right, Leon Cooperman has increased his stake in Manchester United. The veteran investor who owns 5.2% of the club's Class A shares, valued at more than 50 million. The 82-year-old bought around 900,000 United shares in the autumn of 2023 when Sir Jim was planning his takeover. He now has more than 2.9 million shares in the club. This is not a coincidence, right? I accept that. I accept there's lots of fans saying, look, this can't be a coincidence. And it isn't. It isn't. Clearly, this guy is looking at Jim Ratcliffe, looking like, okay, look, the first time Jim Ratcliffe was looking to buy into United, he thought, right, I'll buy some more shares before they completely get sold. I don't know whether he's trying to keep Jim Ratcliffe out of the picture. He might be looking at it thinking, wait, this is my opportunity to buy some shares and put pressure on the likes of Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos when they look to take over, if they take over United in the entirety. So he's thinking, maybe I could sit there on these shares and then demand a lot more. Maybe. Now, Cooperman is the founder of Amiga Advisors, a New York-based investment firm. There is no sense... This is important, this one. There is no sense he's planning a takeover of United. Cooperman recently acquired shares were bought from Ratcliffe or the Glazer family, but a British investment. All right, so this is quite interesting. Cooperman's recently acquired shares were not bought from Ratcliffe or the Glazer family, but a British investment firm, Lindsell Crane, has cut its stake in United. So another investment firm sold up to Cooperman. It wasn't the Glazers and it wasn't Jim Ratcliffe. This is interesting as well because it shows that the Glazers haven't made this move, and neither have Ineos or Jim Ratcliffe. So it's not Jim Ratcliffe saying, right, okay, I want to kind of cut ties. I'm gonna start selling my shares up to whoever's coming, and I'm just gonna pull back. No, it's just another investment firm that are looking, and maybe it's that investment firm that are thinking, right, we don't want to be associated with Man United. Maybe they're looking at it thinking the share price is going to drop and we need to get out quick, so let's sell and leave. And Cooperman's come in and thought, right, okay, I will buy up the shares that are on sale. Ratcliffe paid $1.3 billion, around $33 per share, to take a 25% stake in the club, which was increased to 27.7% when he injected a further $300 million into the club, and then he put in another $50 million for the Carrington renovations and stuff. If you remember, there was a big hoo-ha about Carrington being upgraded and looking very nice, but he spent about $50 million revamping the Carrington training complex. Now, this is really important. This is where I wanted to clarify this for fans out there who might be thinking, this is it, this is a sale. And I know there's lots of fans who are already kind of thinking that this is the beginning of the end for maybe Ineos or even the Glazers. But the greater voting rights come with Class B shares, which carry 10 votes per share, compared to the one with Class A shares, and which are largely held by Glazers and the Ratcliffe or Ineos. Now, that is really interesting. That is interesting because that tells you that the shares that he's bought, even though I know it sounds really weird because you think the Class A shares would be the ones that are higher than B, but B ones, the Class B shares are the ones that actually carry the larger power. So Class A shares, compared to the ones Class A shares, which are largely held by Glazers. All right, so sorry, the greater voting rights comes with Class B shares, which carry 10 votes per share, compared to the ones with Class A shares. So look, read what you want to in that. For me, I just feel like this is an opportunity this guy's taken because another investment company is selling up. But I don't feel like it's a move where he's looking at it and thinking, right, okay, I'm going to take over United. I'm going to come in there and buy up Jim Ratcliffe's shares because he's a complete lunatic and he's right now in a lot of bother. He's been investigated by the Premier League and so forth. So it might lead to something else. And he's thinking, right, okay, maybe I'll come in and buy him out. No, that's not happening, guys. Unfortunately not. I wish I could bring that breaking news to you. I dream about bringing that news to everybody, saying, look, yeah, United's up for sale and the Glazers are going to leave and Ineos are going to go and we're going to get a new owner who's going to actually put some money down and really help us. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Let me know in the comments what you think about this billionaire. He's not squeaky clean either, by the way. This Leon Cooperman has been investigated, has been done for insider trading and things like that as well, I believe, allegedly as well. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't read into him in a lot of depth. All I know is that he's not squeaky clean. He's had some problems as well in his past when it comes to trading and things like that. So you can go and investigate him yourself. But as far as I'm concerned, Man United, unfortunately, although it looked from the outside, it looked like, wow, this is a big power play. This is a big move where we could have somebody else come in and buy up the shares, just like the Glazers did. Remember, the Glazers bought up shares slowly, but they ended up taking a huge majority of the shares and forcing the rest of the shareholders to sell up. And that is a possibility, without a doubt. That's a possibility. And this is an interesting move. When someone gets more than 5% shares, you're looking at someone who's got some real power within the club. He's not far from Jim Ratcliffe, who's essentially running everything at United in terms of football. He's got 27%. So this guy is about 20% away, and that doesn't take long. For someone who's a billionaire, he could just simply move some money from here to there and buy up another 20%. The question is, however, will somebody sell him those shares? The most of the shares, as we are hearing, are in the hands of the Glazers and Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos. So if they don't sell, Leon Cooperman can't buy, so he can't take over. So, but this is again an interesting move. It could be where we have the Glazers selling their shares and hoping that Cooperman can come in and maybe give food for thought with Jim Ratcliffe. Maybe he could give him some, thought about, oh shit, this guy's going to come and take over. I better either buy up more shares, buy out the Glazers, or I might as well sell my shares and leave. So it's an interesting take on everything, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Let me just go to the chat, guys, see what's happening here. He's buying up on a tip from the Glazers. The club's going to be sold, so he will make money in his shares as the Qataris will offer more for them. Yeah, that could be true, Nish. That is a good shout, man. Do you know what? That is such a good shout. That is so interesting. I didn't even think about that aspect, but that could actually be the case where the Glazers are saying, right, we're going to sell up for a huge profit. So look, hey, nunch, hint, Leon, my friend, go and buy some shares because you're going to make some money. You're going to be quids in, right? Or dollars in, whatever it is, right? And yeah, he must be linked with them. He must know them. He must be friends, family, friends, whatever it is. But yeah, they're both out there. They're billionaires, rubbing shoulders in the US. I'm sure they bump into each other. You know what? I'm glad Jim exposed who he was. It's completely backfired on him. We will be owned by Qatar within the year. Finally, we can regain former glory. Let's hope so, Nish. Let's hope so. Geordie Boyce, breaking news says Prince Andrew has been arrested. I've not heard that. I mean, that is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, morning, Rick. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice day. They're all dodgy, these money men. Yeah, they're money men, man. They're the only men who knew an island. All only men knew as an island owner. I can't make sense of that. Is he the Epstein files? Hang on, I'll check. Is he in the Epstein files? Who? Cooperman? Maybe. Yeah, that would be something, right? I mean, oh my God, I've got football withdrawal symptoms. Can't wait for Everton Monday. I don't like Mondays, lol. DJ Dark, do you know what? Welcome to the show first. And the other thing is, yes, I have got the same withdrawal symptoms, man. I'm just just watching anything. And I watched the last night's game against Wolves against Arsenal, guys. Did I not tell you that this is going to be a bottle job from Arsenal? Did I not tell you we are getting a bottle job? It's classic Arsenal, isn't it? It's classic Arsenal losing. Well, not losing, but losing 2 points. They dropped 2 points to Wolves in the last minute or two of the game. It was sensational. It was a heads gone moment, wasn't it? I mean, Arsenal players lost it. The manager was running up and down the touchline going crazy. It was such a joyous moment, wasn't it? It was lovely to watch because finally these Arsenal fans now are panicking because they know the classic bottle jobs, and Man City are not far. It takes 1 or 2 games more and we could have a proper title race. Really, really looking forward to that. I'm really hoping that Man City can do the job against Newcastle on the weekend, because we need this to be a race. We cannot allow Arsenal to just run away with it. The Glazers typically always playing the long game. Yeah, I think they always do, man. I think this move, by Cooperman is a play by the Glazers. I think the Glazers, if they made an outward move like buying up shares, well, they can't, but if they did, or selling shares, it would be like alarm bells will go off everywhere. However, having Cooperman come in and buy the shares and then put pressure. This move puts pressure only on one party, and that is Jim Ratcliffe. He's the only minority shareholder. This move by Cooperman puts pressure on Jim Ratcliffe, not on the Glazers. The Glazers don't care. They've got loads of shares. They're the majority shareholders. But if they have another billionaire mate who's coming in and buying up shares, there's only one other person who's going to be having to look over his shoulders, and that is Jim Ratcliffe. He will know that this is a power play. There's things going on. Without a doubt, there are things going on behind the scenes that us fans are not fully aware of, but this is interesting. Look, let's not completely ignore what's going on with the shares and who's buying them up, because this is very interesting for sure, and something could be happening that we're not fully aware of. And I think it also could be a signal from the Glazers saying, to Jim Ratcliffe, you're not the only person who can buy up United shares. And I think that's the other thing that they're probably saying to him. Andrew was greeted like a winner, though. I've not seen the footage, man. I'll watch it after this. Leon Cooperman is in the Epstein files 3 times, appears in court cases. OMG, niche, man. That is madness, isn't it? Madness. Let's say no to Leon Cooperman then, right? Oh my God, man. What is it with these billionaires, man? What is it, man? This is. It is crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Niche, he probably is. Jody Boy says he's probably in the files. I thought he would have been in there somewhere. Niche, crazy, man. I would not have thought that. I would not have thought that he's. Do you know what? We're all thinking it, right? We're all thinking it. There's a criteria that you've got to have and you've got to tick to be on that island, right? It's just madness, isn't it? Madness. This is just Epstein class, isn't it? It's just crazy what's going on. It's in the DNA, brother, says Geordie. And DJ says, as long as we bend it like Beckham and call quite frankly, I don't give a damn. And then says, I swear I wish our club was a fan-owned. Oh, I love that. I do. I love that concept. Unfortunately, I don't think it. I think if shares went up and everyone was like, right, okay, you can buy in, I think loads of fans would do it. But unfortunately, can you see the Glazers or Ineos or anybody else looking to sell up like that? No, they're never going to do that. Agree, like Bayern is a well-run club. Prefer 100% though. Yeah, I do prefer 100%. I mean, that if we can, I think that would be the best way. That would, because no fan would be expecting like a return. They won't be saying, right, I want money. They would just be happy to see success. Because of their investment, they'd want to see success on the pitch. And no one would be like saying, I want dividends out of this. I want this. No, it'll just be all money being made by United and then reinvested in the club, in the facilities, in the players, and everyone would be buzzing. It's unfortunate that we've got these billionaires who are flipping all over. Like, I mean, this Leon Cooperman, I literally did like a quick search on him, and there was a lot of dirt on him, and I was like, shit, this is not the type of owner. And where are the Premier League? Where are the Premier League and the authorities who stop owners like this coming in to United? Why can they not stop this? We should be doing checks on everybody coming in, buying shares in United and any other club in the Premier League. It's just weird. Who's your top 3 signings would you go for in the summer? I know we need 3, but if it was only 3 allowed, who are you going for? Well, it's fairly easy for me. The 3 signings that I would go for. My top 3 signings would be Wharton, Anderson. I think that midfield needs sorting. I like Kobbie Mainoo. I love Kobbie Mainoo, but I feel like he's still somebody who plays, who does better further up the pitch. I don't think he's an out-and-out centre defensive midfield player. So them 2. And then, I know it sounds a little strange, but I would probably go for an attacking player. Maybe the Mateus Mane from Wolves sounds like a good shout. Diomande sounds like a good shout. I think we need another player just who can offer us something different. And if Ahmad or Mbumo go off injured or there's problems with them, at least we've got another pacey winger down the side so we can... It was almost like Semenyo, wasn't it? Semenyo would have been perfect, but of course, because he could have played right wing, left wing, striker, he could have played anywhere. So we need to maybe look for somebody like that. And I think them are my 3 top signings. Them positions, and them are my 3 top signings. Unfortunately, do I believe that that's going to happen? I can't see that, man. I really would love to see United go and actually double down during this summer. But with all the shit that's gone on, I don't even know whether Ineos are going to be committed to the club anymore. That's the biggest worry. And let's be honest, it was only Ineos that were going to put the money down. The Glazers are off out buying cricket clubs for £1.8 billion. They've got no interest in putting that money into United. They could have quite easily, that £1.8 billion that they're going to spend on the cricket club, they could have quite easily said, actually, we're rinsing United. Let's just clear the debt. The 1.2 bill debt. Let's clear that so we don't have to pay interest. But they're not having to pay interest. United are having to pay the interest on the loans. And unfortunately, we keep on taking out more loans. That's what's going on. That's the business model right now under the Glazers and Ineos. We keep on renewing loans, taking out further loans, short-term loans. It's not looking good. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from Kieran Maguire, the financial football expert. He's always on, TV talking about, he's on Sky Sports and so forth, talking about United's financial situation. And he himself on Twitter, he's come out and said, look, United financially are not in a great place and they keep on taking these loans out, which isn't a good thing because they're having to pay more interest and more service charges. It does not look good. Camavinga as my 6. Oh, yeah, that would be a beautiful signing, wouldn't it? He would be brilliant, but I just can't see him leaving. I don't think Real Madrid will ever sell him. They're young, talented players, Tchouaméni and Camavinga. There were rumours Camavinga... Was it Camavinga? Yeah, there were rumours that Camavinga might be the one that they might let go of in the summer, but then I just feel like, no, I don't think that's happening. And it would be nice, actually, Rick, to get him at this age, because... we don't want to get someone like at the end of his career, like Casemiro. Imagine getting Casemiro when he was in his peak. That would have been brilliant. Was watching our under-18s destroy Oxford last night. Fletch has them purring so much talent. It's frightening. I watched a bit of that game, watched some highlights, and Obi, man, did you see him? What a talent. Apparently, Obi's been working with Seedorf. I don't know whether that's true, man, but apparently, why Seedorf, I don't know. But I read somewhere that he's been working with Seedorf, and he's been working on his dribbling, finishing, and just his power play, and he is one for the future. Watch this space, guys. He looks frightening. So yeah, look, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the kids, actually, because we've got a few. We've got JJ coming through. We've got Amas hopefully as well. So again, this is what Ineos have suggested, and we heard this from David Ornstein a couple of months ago, actually a month ago, just at the end of the January transfer window, which was, he said, well, he's heard from Ineos, and Ineos have said that they're not going to actually invest huge amounts of money in the summer and go after huge big name players in the summer transfer market. What they will be doing is concentrating on bringing in the young players from the academy and promoting them and filling the positions that might be available. So we're talking about Sekou Kone here, maybe coming in for Casemiro. So they might be thinking we don't need to go and spend big on Anderson or Wharton when we've got Kone there. But look, for me, you need experience. You need players who actually come in and have got something about them. You can't throw youngsters in there and expect miracles, and especially if we're playing in the Champions League, which is a possibility. Our kids will rescue us if the manager is brave. I think definitely, I love seeing academy players come in because it just shows that United are going in the right direction. And I just, sometimes buying in the players makes you feel a bit like, oh, do you know what? Are they just after the money? Are they after the big contracts? Whereas I feel like sometimes the youngsters give you passion, give you commitment that you don't get from these big name players who come in and demand Champions League football. That's what they do. They're like, oh, we're not coming to United unless you give us Champions League football, unless you give me 250k plus a week, and unless you lick my backside, I'm not coming there. And I just think, well, do we want a player like that? Do we really? I mean, for me, I'd rather give it a miss, thank you very much, and I'll bring in somebody else who actually wants to play for the badge and wants to commit themselves. Lovely comment, says Rick, lovely comment. Do you think Villa will be able to keep hold of him? Is that Thwaites, Chido, the list endless at the moment, says, are you talking about Rodgers here? Geordie boy, are you talking about Rodgers? Because I'm guessing it's Rodgers, but I don't think Rodgers. There's rumours that he's leaving, and he probably will go to a bigger club. No offence to Villa fans there. Our youth bring our culture through the club. Yeah, absolutely, man. They bring something different to the table, something that you look at and think, actually, yeah, this is it. This is what United are all about. And these kids, they've watched on, and they've been listening and watching and learning about Man United through their time there. You don't want them to be kind of put on the shelf when you're bringing in other players from other academy, other teams. Yes, look, a mixture is great. So you have a mixture of, players who are ready-made to go from other clubs, but then you've also got players coming through the academy, through the ranks, because that then gives something to the youngsters playing in the under-18s, and they're looking over and thinking, right, if I work hard enough, I'll be there one day. You don't want them to think, well, there's no point me playing good because I'm not going to reach what my target is, which is playing for the first team. I hope so. My nightmare was City or Liverpool winning it. Now it's just City. I think we get least third. Look, for right now, I think we're in a good position. We just need to carry on in our performances, and I think we should qualify for Champions League. It'll be from this position. If we don't qualify for Champions League, I think it will be a complete disaster. I think we are in a position where we can hopefully hold on to. Looking above, I think, look, if we had maybe pull the trigger with Ruben Amorim a little bit earlier. I know hindsight is a great thing, but if we had pulled the trigger with Ruben Amorim a little bit earlier, and Carrick might have come in, but again, we didn't know whether Carrick was going to come in and cook like this. But if we had, and Carrick had come in, and we would have turned them draws into wins, we could have been definitely looking at challenging for the title, and that is no understatement. I'm not trying to completely gas you guys up, right? I'm just telling you what my personal thoughts are on the league right now. I genuinely look at it. I was looking at the table yesterday after the Arsenal game, and I was thinking, shit, if United picked up a couple of wins under Ruben Amorim, we would have been right there looking at the league, looking at Arsenal right now, screwing things up, bottling it, and we would have been thinking, bring it on, guys, bring it on. Let's go out there and win the league. But unfortunately, look, it's not the case. Not the case. I can't see both Arsenal and City losing that many points. And Villa, I did think that they were going to kind of start dropping off, but they're still there. They're still winning. They're still keeping hold of that third position. But like I said, we just need to keep an eye on ourselves. We need to keep working ourselves, working hard, keeping a check on our own form. Forget looking above us. Forget looking at Aston Villa, City and Arsenal. What will be, will be. But for us, we need to concentrate on ourselves and make sure, at the very least, we go and get Champions League. And I've heard reports about Anderson, the deal between Anderson. They want over 100 million, but not only do they want over 100 million, Anderson wants guaranteed Champions League football, or else he won't be joining any club. And United will, I guess, have to qualify to attract the big players. I remember Sir Alex Ferguson would promote the youth and fill the weak spots with purchases. Yeah, I think that is exactly how we'd operate before. We'd bring in a mixture of youth, and we'd bring in players like if there was like a Wayne Rooney, for instance, or a Van Persie, or other players that were available, and they would make a huge difference. That's exactly what we'd do. We'd go and buy massive talent, but then we'd also plug in the gaps with youth, and I think that's the most important way. That's the best way to deal with it. So you're not having to completely rebuild the entire team, but what you are doing is you're putting down a serious amount of money for one top player that you know that's going to come in and make a huge difference. I'm happy with the squad so far. I just feel like we do need to spend money on that centre mid position. I think we do need to bring in at least one world-class midfielder that really is like someone that we can rely on, because that will, I think, give the rest of the team a boost as well. And then we have to discuss summer, new manager, and Carrick. I think Carrick's going to get it. DJ, I really do. I think Carrick's going to get it unless something drastically goes wrong and we don't qualify for Champions League. I think, personally, Carrick gets it. Abraham, welcome, mate. Big up, Travis. Are the Glazers and Jim Ratcliffe still fighting with each other? I hope the sale is going to happen. Well, behind the scenes, look, that is true. That behind the scenes, what I've heard, what I've been reading, and what I've got from sources is that the Glazers were really, really pissed off with what Jim Ratcliffe said. And they didn't hesitate. They just simply ordered the club to make the statement going against Jim Ratcliffe, even though it was obvious that, look, this is embarrassing for Jim Ratcliffe. So that statement was authorised by the Glazers, the majority shareholders. So there is absolutely, trouble between the two parties. There are now huge problems between the parties, because one party has clearly brought the club into disrepute. The other thing is commercial revenue might be affected. This is a long game now, and I feel like this is something that's going to linger on. At first, initially, I thought maybe it's just going to be, open and shut case, but because the Premier League are investigating, because we've got such a gap between games, this has been lingering on and on and on, and now we're going to hear from Carrick probably tomorrow about, obviously, the team, and without a doubt, the first question he's going to face is, what do you make of the Jim Ratcliffe comments? And what do the players make of it? Full of immigrants. The whole team's full of immigrants, right? What do they make of it? So it's going to be an interesting press conference. And Carrick really shouldn't be in that position to answer those questions. Why should he? It's not his bloody problem, is it? Grace, welcome. Hope you're doing well. The only reason we are doing well is because we aren't in Europe and big teams are struggling. Wait till we get Champions League and we struggle like Ten Hag's second season. You're spot on. Right now, this squad is manageable because we haven't got a lot of football. But the moment we go into Champions League, unfortunately, Ineos's plan, for me, isn't going to work. We can't just simply go out there and buy one or two players and say, right, okay, that's enough. We need a rebuild of this squad. Yes, I agree that we need to promote some academy players up into the first team, but is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? Are we going to drop off like Gray says? Because the moment we are entertaining lots more games in a week, we've got a squad that's pretty light. We know players are going to be leaving. We know Casemiro's leaving. There's question marks over Harry Maguire. There's question marks over Luke Shaw. There's question marks over Zertsky and a few others. And in fact, there's question marks over our captain, Bruno Fernandes. So that is another big issue for me, which is, look, if Bruno Fernandes leaves, we're up shit's creek. We are seriously in problems, because I cannot see anybody in world football right now that I point to and say, actually, we've got a Bruno replacement. We've got a Bruno replacement. We haven't got that. So that's my issue. But good point there, Grace. Carrick, if we get Champions League, yeah, definitely. And do you know what? I don't think many fans will be upset about that. I don't think many fans, even those that were initially saying no to Carrick, getting the job, I think if he qualifies us for Champions League, I don't think there'll be many fans who'll be complaining. I think many fans will be saying, bring it on. Yeah, give him the job. I think he deserves it. Nice channel, Man United stream. Great comments. Thanks, DJ. My thick fingers, lol. Nice. All right. It's no problem, Rick. Luman, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Travis, do you blame yourself for not wanting Amrin to get sacked much earlier, as we could have won so many games under Carrick? Do I blame myself? I do. I feel like we got taken in. I felt like we got taken in by Ruben Amrin. Oh, I did. I got taken in by all his poetry and, his press conferences. But in hindsight, of course, you look at it immediately when Carrick started winning, I started looking. In fact, look, when we started drawing, if you go back, I was on the fence. I was always been on the fence, because whenever we'd lose or not perform, I'd be like saying, this isn't working. Ruben Amrin needs to go. But then at the same time, every time he'd come and talk about the team and performances, then I'd be thinking, maybe it's not the manager, maybe it's the players. But we can see in Carrick's recent games that a manager can influence the players and can get the best out of them. It's just a matter of playing them in the right position, right formation and right system, and you can get the best out of them. So yes, of course, in hindsight, I mean, I don't think there'll be many fans who'll be saying, well, actually, we'd rather stick with Ruben Amrin and allow the league. But that is it. But we've been lucky also. This is not by the making of anybody. Ineos or nobody else, or Wilcox or Brada can't take the credit, or Jim Ratcliffe or even the Glazers. No one can take credit for what Carrick has done apart from Carrick, because he's come in and he's given us this boost. And nobody expected that. Nobody expected that from the interim manager. All of us, let's be honest, thought, right, okay, the season's done. We're shafted. Carrick's going to come in. We're going to probably just stumble until the end of the season and maybe get a few wins, and then we'll have to go again. But this is a pleasant surprise for a lot of us, and we're still in contention. The only contention for Champions League. The only issue I have is that we're not playing any other competitions, and it's upsetting, because I want to be watching United. I mean, the FA Cup or the Champions League, for me, we have to be playing in every bloody competition. We are Man United. We cannot be in a position where we're having such massive gaps before we play games. And I don't know who it was who said, I think it was Geordie, who came on and said, I've got withdrawal symptoms. Exactly, man, I've got withdrawal symptoms. Rick, you must remember to open your eyelids. It helps. It's 5 a.m. here. It's only my excuse. Rick, always a joy to have you, man. Always enjoy your comments here, man. DJ Dark, lol, I just turned moon here in London. I had to do a grab a granny last night. Lol, my lids are droopy too. Lol. Rick says, I have a few decades on you. Let's see. You appreciate the banter. That was banter. It always is. It always is, man. Babu Bongo. It always is. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to bring you a further show. I'm going to do another show actually on Marcus Rashford, but I'll do a recording on that and bring it to you, because we've got some news coming out on Barcelona making a lowball offer for Marcus Rashford. I'll discuss that, and you'll probably see that later on, and you'll get to see my thoughts on Marcus Rashford going to Barcelona for next to nothing, or do we turn things around and bring him back to the club? Let me know later on. I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks to everybody. Rick, Babu, DJ, Luman, Grace, Abraham, everybody, Niche, of course, everyone who's joined, Geordie as well. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you again next time. Take it easy.